When you're talking about probabilities, there's only certain types of numbers that a probability could be. So for example, you can never have a negative probability, and you also can't have probabilities greater than 1. And 1, by the way, is equivalent to 100%. So I know sometimes you hear people say, well, I'm going to give 110% effort. But that's just a saying. You can't literally give more than 100%. So that's what this says right here. This says the probability of any given event is going in a range from 0. Okay, 0% chance of happening means it's something impossible. I used to give the example of the Cubs winning the World Series. I can't do that since 2016. So 0% chance would be like the chance of adding 2 plus 2 and getting 5. You can't do it. It's impossible. And then it goes all the way up to 1 or 100% chance. And 100% chance, if you say that something has a probability of 1 or 100%, it means it's absolutely certain. It's a 100% chance that the day that follows Sunday will be Monday. Okay, and then there's this nice table here that kind of shows you the ranges. So 0 means impossible, 100 or percent or 1 means certain. This is 50-50. This could go either way. And then 25 is unlikely, 75% is likely. And remember, we said before, 5% or less, that's when you consider something to be unusual. Okay, something that goes together with this is the idea of a complement. Okay, and the complement is basically the opposite of an event. So let's say my event is rain. The event, it's raining outside. The complement, the way you symbolize this is E with a little like asterisk there, or I guess an apostrophe. What is the opposite of the event raining? And the answer is not sunny, because there's many things that could happen if it's not raining. So basically the opposite is just not raining. Not raining includes every other possibility. It includes snowing, hailing, raining cats and dogs, whatever not raining means. Okay. Another example, let's say the event is, I'll use the Cubs again, sorry to pick on any Cubs fans. The event will be the Cubs winning the World Series. WS means World Series. The opposite of that is not the Cubs losing, because there's other things that could happen. Maybe the World Series gets canceled or something like that. So the opposite of Cubs winning the World Series is just Cubs not winning the World Series. And that could mean anything. That could mean they lose. That could mean the World Series is canceled. It includes everything. Here's the idea. The complements are related like this. If I tell you there's an 80% chance that it will rain, what's the chance that it won't rain? And the answer is 20%. These numbers always have to add up to 100, because it's absolutely certain that it's either going to rain or not rain. If the Cubs have a 10% chance of winning, what's the chance they don't win? And the answer is 90%. Okay, again, these have to add up to 100. It's certain that they're either going to win or not win. Alright, so let's take a look at another example. And that, by the way, this just summarizes what we just said right there. This is on page, I think, 138 in the book, if you want to take a closer look and maybe read through that. Alright, here's an example. Use this to find the probability of picking somebody who is not 23 to 35. Well, let's find the probability that they are 23 to 35. So the probability, so let's say E is picking somebody between 23 and 35. That's our event. Okay, the probability of that happening, we did this before, it's 312 out of 975. Okay, what is the chance that we don't pick that, so that we're picking somebody who's not? Well, it's everybody besides those 312. So here's what you could do. We said that this number and this number, when we add them together, have to add up to 1. Okay, so you can basically do this. You could say this is equal to 312 over 975. I'm going to add to it, I don't know what I'm adding to it, and it has to equal 1. So how would you solve that for x? You would just subtract that from 1. What would 1 be as a fraction with that denominator right there? Okay, and the answer is it would be the same as 975 over 975. That's what 1 equals, right? And we're subtracting this number right here. We're subtracting the other event, because remember, these have to add up to 1. It's kind of like in geometry. If you know an angle, let's say you have a straight line, that's 100 degrees. How would you find that one? And you might remember that this whole thing has to be 180. So you do 180 minus 100. Similar thing. You're doing 1 minus that probability. So this turns out to be 663 over 975, and you could obviously simplify that. This one is roughly 30%. So that means this one is going to be somewhere around 70%. Those are complements. They have to add up to 100.